Hey guys, Bilal from Zenfinity.net, and in this video we're going to talk about which platforms to sell your game on and which online platforms to sell your game on, so both the stores and the operating systems. And we're also going to find out which ones will get you the most downloads and the most purchases. So to begin, I'll say that it depends on where you are as a developer. So if you are a multi-millionaire company like EA or something, obviously you want to get your game out onto as many platforms as possible because you do have marketing teams. You will be able to get your game in reach with many different people. And lots of people will enjoy your game. But if you were like me when I created my first game, to give you an idea of the difference between selling on Steam and Humble Store and the Play Store, which is Google's Android store. The Play Store will get you almost no downloads unless you're very, very lucky, because like if you do not have marketing, then it's just very difficult for your game to reach anybody because of how saturated the Play Store and even the App Store from Apple. They're both just really saturated, and they don't really do you any favors if you're an indie and you want to develop some sort of new game and reach people. They won't really help you with that at all. Whereas with something like Steam or Humble Store, I know that Steam will have a list of new releases, so it will get noticed. Maybe not purchased a lot, but if you have something unique, it will get around by word of mouth. But it will always have these games under new release, so you have already that much more luck when using Steam than if you were to use the Play Store. And as for Humble Store, they also will help you get a lot because of all the sales that go on there. And it's not you will not get as much attention as on Steam, but you will get more attention than on any mobile store, and that's for sure. But there are also stores like Good Old Games, and they tend to be more selective with which games can get on Good Old Games because they want to have a very refined market where their customers can always come back and say, oh, these games are all premium, we love all of them. Now, if you wanted to explore other options than just selling on Steam and Humble Store and the obvious ones, there are always these bundle sites that they'll email you typically. They'll ask you, hey, do you want to put your game in one of our bundles? Do you want to debut in our bundle? We'll give you a higher percentage than if you were just doing the bundle and you had already been in a different one. And those can make you a nice additional amount of money. That's where actually I got a lot from selling Rebound on one of those bundle sites and debuting with them. So I definitely recommend trying out one of the indie bundler websites because they definitely have a better marketing team than a one-man army. With that said, I think we can talk about, well, actually, let me say as a final verdict, I definitely recommend sell on Steam, sell on PC first if you're a small indie. You will get more sales. Going onto the App Store is a shot in the dark. Now, with that said, let's talk about which operating systems. And I mean, of course, like I said, the Play Store and the App Store, it's so saturated. It's going to be hard for you to sell on Android and iOS. If you want to sell on them, there is always, like, the Humble Store will let you distribute APKs. So that's one way to get it, but I wouldn't recommend it as a primary source because that offers an additional go onto your computer, then download the APK and send it to your Android device, or email it to your Android device as a download link. And that's something that will make you lose users. Anytime people have to do one more thing, you will get X percentage fewer people playing your game. So that's why I recommend just don't make Android focused or iOS focused games unless you're like totally heart set and you think, yeah, I can market it, I can send it to reviewers, they'll figure it out for me. I have the money to hire a marketing team. I obviously do what you think is right, but my recommendation is to avoid Android and iOS until you have reached a point where you can market your games, across Facebook, Twitter, everywhere where people are looking. Now, as for desktop platforms like PC, Mac, and Linux, Linux is growing. I'll start with because this is one that you can kind of get out of the way, but I don't think it's growing enough to put a lot of worry into. Like if you can build for Linux, because since you're using Unity, you can of course build on all these different platforms. But so if you're planning to build on Linux, I would say send your game around to people willing to test on 32-bit and 64-bit Linux, and go for it by all means, because all you need to do is really build. And I recommend for any Unity game where you don't have a lot of graphics issues, if you can send your game to multiple testers, and they will just email you back and say, yeah, this is what happened, or they'll record it for you even better. Then I would say go for it. But if your game is, if it's a bigger scale indie game where it's difficult to say for sure, yeah, this is going to work on, many Linux machines, and you can get your graphics right, then I would go for it. With Mac, it's definitely easier since there are fewer Mac systems that you can even purchase. Because since Apple obviously attaches their operating system and their hardware together, I would say it's another good choice. And Windows is a given. Windows is the platform where people play games mostly. You have to build for Windows. Do not make a Mac only or a Linux only game. Now, for consoles, I can't say I have much experience, but I would recommend that the same things I was saying with Linux and Mac, if you can get people to test them, and you can get final verdicts saying, yes, it works, then I, of course, always recommend it since Unity can build to any platform that people want to play on right now. But that's all I have on this subject. And if you want to make that first game for one of these platforms, click on this ebook over here. It will tell you all of the tools you need, including what to program in, what game engine, how do I get sound, how do I get art, and all of those sorts of things. And I will see you in the next video.